At the face-off X, the new look Denver Pioneers face-off man, it's Brett Bose taking over for Trevor Baptiste after his stellar 4-year career. Bose, the freshman from Parker, Colorado, as we've got some horn issues on the field before we get going.
Get those issues out before we get the game going, right?
Yeah, we don't need horns going off errantly throughout this game. So, quick second to get everything underway as we'll get Brett Bose and Alex Woodall at the face-off X. Bose, as a freshman, came in and was really good in the first game over Air Force. Kind of took everybody by storm and said, hey, I'm here. Don't worry. We don't need Trevor Baptiste. Overall, 55% on the year. Still pretty good for a freshman.
You'll take 55% for sure. Obviously, it's a little different when you're talking about Trevor Baptiste. You know, he was 80, 85% career guy. So, like I said before, it's definitely an adjustment for this Denver team. They're so used, you just become used to always having the ball. Like I said, if the other team's going on a run, he's going to win the next few face-offs, get you the possession back. So it definitely takes time to adjust, and it's not just, you know, it's the offense and the defense. Having that much possession time and having that guy be so dominant, it affects both sides of the ball.
44 degrees, sunny, and very windy at Johnny Unitas Stadium as we get a look at Tyler Canto, the starter there in goal for the Tigers. We'll talk a little bit more about him as this game goes on, but everything seems to be situated. And we're ready to go for opening faceoff, number 8 versus number 13. A top 20 non-conference showdown, the final non-conference game of the year for Towson. The second to last one for the Pios. Bose wins the opening faceoff for Denver. And something you maybe didn't expect to see to open up this game.
That's how you want to start if you're Denver, especially Mr. Bose at the face-off X, going against one of the best guys in the country. Get your confidence going early. Get some excitement in your team right here at the start.
Getting a look at the starting attack unit for Denver: Austin French, Ellis Geis, Ethan Walker. And then in the midfield, Jack Hanna, Colton Jackson, Ted Sullivan. The first midfield unit for the Pios. A couple of freshmen mixed in there, including this guy, Ted Sullivan. Behind to X, Ethan Walker. Now back out top to Colton Jackson, the senior. Ellis Geis, the freshman from X, beats his man off the corner of the post. But gets a fresh 80 here for the Pios.
Towson, not a team that likes to slide a lot, but you got to go when you guys beat. He was clearly beat from X. Nobody on the inside were even in position or looking to go. If you're Denver, if you start to get taking advantage of some of these one-on-one matchups, kind of force Towson to slide, something that they don't like to do.
So a long opening possession for Denver here as Ted Sullivan, the freshman, goes to work against the short stick. Now back to Austin French. Missed the first 4 games for Denver. Came back in that North Carolina game with a vengeance, as he had 6 points, including 5 assists, as that shot sails high. Austin French, an important part of this offense, a guy you saw immediately when he came back against North Carolina, what kind of impact he can have. Still 30 seconds to operate. French and Sullivan trying the hidden ball trick on the flip. Towson not fooled. Jackson gets the double, and it's taken away. Andrew O'Dare with a good loose ball, and Towson able to get a long stop after playing almost more than 2 minutes of defense.
Good job defensively there, coming with that double team. Wasn't really a slide. It was just the way the dodge happened and where it was. He was in great position and close enough where he could double it, create the turnover. Now it's Towson ball, so good job from the Towson defense.
And our first look at the Tigers offense. Brody McLean, along with Brendan Sunday and Luke Frommert, make up the starting attack unit once again. Same starting attack unit we've seen in now all 8 games for the Tigers. In the midfield, Jake McLean, Grant Maloof, and Timmy Monahan. This is Monahan, the senior from Bethesda, Maryland. Gets it down to Brody McLean. McLean gets it off Tough catch. He made it initially, but couldn't corral it. And Brody McLean turns it over. And that is something that has been a concern for Sean Nadalin and this Tigers team.
Turnovers. Turnovers in the clearing game, even some turnovers after wins on the face-off X. You got to take care of the ball. The good teams do. You're going to have turnovers in the game of lacrosse, right? It's like basketball. It's going to happen. But you've got to eliminate them, and they've got to be good turnovers. You can't have those sloppy ones where it's just transitioning the ball from one player to another.
And we got a loose ball push, which will give it to Denver. Towson entering this game averaging almost 20 turnovers per. And that was very evident in the loss to Duke last week, where they turned the ball over 25 times. A huge concern, because that is one of the reasons they gave up that fourth quarter lead against the Blue Devils.
And you think about it's a 2-goal game. If a few of those turnovers go a different way, you maintain possession. That could be a 2 or 3 goal swing, and we're talking about a different result. So got to take care of the ball, got to clean that up.
This is Colin Rutan. He was the starting attackman for Denver at the beginning of the season with Austin French out. You'll see him at the attack spot. You'll also see him running out of the midfield here today. He's just a good piece who had a good start of the year. Coach Tierney wanted to keep him in with his talent despite the fact that French is back. Here's the All-American candidate, Ethan Walker. Now back to Rutan on the short stick. Under 20 on the shot clock for Denver. French taken down. Nice play by Bowden, but it's kept alive here by the Pios. Alex Simmons, shot stopped by Canto. First save of the afternoon for Tyler Canto, the big man in net for Towson. And so the Tigers will settle things down here. Drew Swain, the midfielder, in there, getting a chance to get an early run, along with Casey Wasserman, part of this second midfield unit for the Tigers.
Towson, very balanced attack. Obviously, it starts with Sunday. He's their main guy, but they've been double digits in every game so far this year. So a lot of guys that could do it. Coach Naz talked to us, wants a little bit more out of that second midfield. We'd like to get some more scoring out of them, but his top 6 he's very confident in.
That's Matt Severo, whose shot was saved. He's taken down, and an early save for Alex Reddy, and back comes Denver. In transition, the short stick Danny Logan gets it to Ethan Walker. Severo, a guy who missed a good portion of the early part of the year for Towson, was one of the main midfielders for this team last year. Had 13 goals a season ago. This year, still looking for that first goal, and that goes to what Nadalin was talking about, and getting some more production from that second midfield and third midfield unit. One extra pass out front, Walker just wide.
Towson did a nice job there with their rotation. Denver had them running around, spinning a little bit, but everybody was sharp, slid to the stick side, took away some shots there, and gave up a decent shot, but nice job with their rotation and getting guys covered up.
Ted Sullivan dumps it down, and it's taken away. Is Towson defense so difficult? A bunch of good guys, but another turnover gives it right back to Ethan Walker and the Pios. Was talking to Ethan Walker this week about being one of the star attackmen in the country, comparing himself to the guys like Grant Ament and Pat Spencer. And I thought it was a coach's dream, his answer. It included being tough on the ride and getting extra ground balls. There are not many attackmen that will count that as part of their resume. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Most of those guys are just looking to score and fill up the point sheet, but the stat sheet. But yeah, he's one of those guys, Canadian player. It's kind of bred in those guys playing that box game. You've got to be tough. Got to get after ground balls, and really, I love attackman that ride. I played with one of the best guys ever, which was Mike Powell. He could ride as good as anyone, and nobody did it better than him filling up the stat sheet. So it's nice to have a complete guy and a guy that really takes pride in the ride.
Towson able to force another turnover. Now we see if they can clear. That's the other issue for Towson. They're clearing just 76%. That's number 66 out of 73 Division I teams. That's got to get better if they want to be able to be a team to compete for Memorial Day.
You've got an extra man, right? You should be able to clear 100% of the time. Obviously, mistakes happen and things happen, but you've got to be in that 85 to 90% with the extra guy. So, yeah, and it just comes back to their turnovers. I think a lot of it is just sloppy passes, guys overthrowing guys, or maybe not making the right looks.
This is Brendan Sunday. What a year he has had so far. 23 goals, 13 assists, 36 points, but a turnover there along the end line for Towson. And Nadalin even said he doesn't mind the turnover numbers if they're coming while being aggressive. It's the unforced turnovers and the ones that are sloppy that drives him crazy.
It's what I call a 50-50 pass. You know, if it gets through, it's probably a goal, but 50% it might not get through. You're okay with those plays, right? Because they result in goals most of the time. But like that last turnover, just transitioning to the guy at X, can't have those types of turnovers.
So while we're tied 0-0, a lot of possession for Denver in the first part of this first quarter. As Danny Logan, the short stick, staying on to play a little offense for the Pios here. Now Quinn McCone, the second midfielder, strikes first. Pios up 1-0.
Just a simple alley dodge here from McCone. Does a nice job of creating some space. Gets his hands free again. He receives the pass right here. Just a little alley dodge. Goes to his strong hand. Beats his man. Not a high angle shot, so he had to bury that in the far pipe there, but did a nice job. And again, we talked about Towson. They don't really like to slide, so if you can win some of those matchups, score some one-on-one goals, get them to slide, rotate. It's not something they feel comfortable doing. They like to hold their matchups. They trust their short sticks. So if you can win a few of those, it kind of changes their mentality. And Denver with another face-off win here.
Yeah, check this. The freshman Brett Bowes, back-to-back face-off wins against Alex Woodall. Kid from Parker, Colorado, looking like Trevor Baptiste so far in the early going. So this Towson defense, which has been on the field for a majority of this first quarter, has to go to work again. Ted Sullivan dodging down the alley. Jump shot, saved by Canto. A loose ball on the clear is tracked down by the Tigers, and here comes Kobe Smith. He can go, and Kobe Smith with an answer. His 6th goal of the season, the sophomore, makes it 1-1.
6 goals on the year. We didn't even get the conference play yet, so he's having a heck of a year. Maybe they should run him out of the second line midfield. But right there, it actually comes off of what could have been a turnover. Sloppy pass in the clearing game. Right place, right time. Got to show you have to know personnel on the opposite team, right? You have to treat him almost like a midi, a short stick defensive midi or offensive guy. You've got to slide to him a little bit early because obviously he can score. So Denver doesn't do a good job of recognizing who's got the ball on their stick and probably should have showed a little earlier.
And Alex Woodall able to win his first face-off of the game. Able to get it into the box and get it to the offense in Greg I.
And that was a spot I always felt when you play against a dominant guy at the face-off X. If he wins it to himself, it's opportunities to press out, really make him work to get the ball in the box, really make him have to handle the ball, put the pressure on him. You know, some guys obviously can, but a lot of those guys can't. And you can kind of create some turnovers there as well as wear them out as the game goes on.
Greg I rolling back toward the top, draws a double team, gets it away with one hand. Good pressure by the Pios defense. This is Brody McLean. It's taken away. Big stuff by Danny Logan, the short stick defensive midfielder. Got a couple of good ones in this game, including the guy on the other end here for Towson and Zach Goodrich. A settled pace to this game so far as we near the end of the first quarter. A pace that both teams throughout there, as you see a turnover over the end line as Austin French couldn't track that one down. Both these teams, even before the shot clock, very comfortable playing at this kind of pace.
When you have the athletes and the skilled players that like these guys have had over the last few years, I mean, it makes no sense to try and play slow. And there's another turn, and that's just a...
Austin French has it free. Canto with the stop, but it's knocked in by Towson. An unfortunate bounce for Gray Bowden beats Tyler Canto.
Who are we giving that one to? Who gets that? Is that Walker?
Is it Walker? French was in the mix. He took the initial shot.
Come on, let's take a look right here. You see, first, it has nothing to do with stick skills, passing, catching. That's just throwing to a guy that's covered, and you just can't make that look.
Austin French got the first shot. Tyler Canto makes the save, and Gray Bowden, a bad break because he could not handle that rebound. Hits right off his pole. Brutal break for the Tigers. Listed in the score sheet as an own goal on Towson. That's their...
I think in all my years, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
That's it.
In that type of fashion.
Yeah, fast break.
One-on-one, bounces, bounces back into the net.
A face-off win there as Zach Goodrich wins the battle for the ground ball, and so Towson gets a possession. Now 2 for 2 at the face. Now 2 for each team at the face-off X between Towson and Denver. Brett Bowes winning the first 2 face-offs. Now Alex Woodall winning the last 2. Brendan Sunday going to work for Max. He's been quiet so far, and another turnover.
See right there, if you're Sunday, sometimes you got to live to fight another day. Just pull that ball out. He tried to throw it under pressure in traffic. Pull that ball out, take 2-3 steps to your right, get your hands free, and move the ball on. It wasn't one of those passes where if he hooks that pass up, it's a great look or a great opportunity. Take your time, be patient, pull it out, transition the ball. Can't force that tough pass.
We've made so much about the Towson defense throughout this year, and deservedly so, with the performances they've had against some really good offenses. But Denver entering this game, giving up just 8 goals per game. That's ranked 3rd in the country, and they've got some guys that are some of the top defensemen in the game as well. One of them, that LSM and Matt Neufeld, who brought the ball over, transfer from Maryland. Let's see if Sullivan can get something going for Denver here. Now sent behind to Austin French. Hannah, push behind. Now 7 seconds on the possession clock, a turnover around midfield. Let's see if Towson can go quickly here.
We're getting on Towson about their turnovers, but Denver's been pretty sloppy here today as well. We've had a lot of unforced errors as well.
Under a minute to go in the first quarter. It's been a settled first quarter. I think it's the best way to explain what we've seen so far. As Grant Maloof looks for an opening. Denver's defense has been tough on this Towson attack unit, midfield unit so far. Have not seen Brendan Sunday get going much. Sent behind, extra pass to Maloof! And he cashes in. We're knotted up at 2 apiece.
Great ball movement from the Tigers here offensively. Starts with that initial dodge, draws the slide, bangs it to X, and now you've got him spinning Good job handling the ball and moving it right away. As soon as you, as an offensive player, as soon as you recognize that defense is sliding, it's really critical of just moving the ball as fast as you can in and out of your stick and get it to that second or third guy, and that's usually when you get that good look, and Maloof was able to finish it. So good team offense from the Tigers.
Give the assist to Luke Frommert, the redshirt sophomore attackman. Grant Maloof's now got 10 goals on the season as we've got a clock issue. Johnny Unitas Stadium with 3 seconds to go. Shouldn't be too much of an issue.
3 seconds. I think we could do this manually, can't we?
I think it looks like they may be adding a few more seconds back onto the clock as the clock continued to run after that one went in. Should be at about 3 seconds, I believe, as this game is now tied up at 2. And they're going to give 9 seconds, so that changes some things here. If you win a faceoff, you actually have a chance to do something offensively if you can win it cleanly. We've seen Alex Woodall on this Towson team do that quite a number of times this season. And Woodall wins it forward to himself. Quickly to Sunday, but it's taken away again. Denver has been all over Brendan Sunday, and the Pios are tied up with number 8 Towson through 15 minutes. That was the pregame show leading into this game between number 13 Denver and number 8 Towson. We're all tied up at 2 apiece through 15 minutes, Steve, and it was a sloppy first quarter at times. 12 combined turnovers between these two teams.
Took both teams a little while to settle in. It was like a heavyweight fight, kind of feeling each other out through the first couple rounds. But like you said, yeah, very sloppy from both teams. And from two coaches that are very disciplined, are very, not sure what the word I'm looking for, but it's not what you expect.
Stringent?
Yeah, it's not what you expect from a Tierney, Nadalin type teams.
It's true. And this Towson team, 6 turnovers in the first quarter against Duke last week. 7 turnovers in this first quarter. Not something that Coach Nadalin will be real happy with. But they do win the opening faceoff of this second quarter. Now 3 straight for Alex Woodall. Brendan Sunday trying to get something going, working against a great defenseman for this Denver team in Dylan Gaines. Here's Frommert.
Well, Gaines has done a nice job on him, and a few times he has dodged. He's gotten to bad spots on the field where he could be easily doubled, and Denver's done a good job of recognizing his back turn to them, and they've been able to bring the double and really create those turnovers and make it hard for him.
Maloof at the goal at the end of the first quarter, able to tie this up. Now to Monahan. Draws the quick slide. And 10 seconds left on the shot clock for Towson. Another takeaway by Denver. Monahan gets it back. Saved by Reddy. And Denver coming quickly the other way. It's Kyle Smith, the short stick. With Brendan Sunday, it's interesting as Danny Logan skips it ahead. Back to French. Denver off the post. Resets the shot clock as that ball ricocheted all the way into the Pios sideline.
Take a look here. Good ball movement. Spin it, get it to X. Work the ball around, and then he just rips it. Goalie's best friend sometimes is the pipe.
It's been an eventful time in the crease for Tyler Canto so far for Towson. He had one go in off his own player, and he's gotten 2 pipes. Shot sails from Ted Sullivan. The sophomore from Tucson, Arizona, cashes in first time here in the second quarter.
2 of Denver's goals have just been basic alley dodges and just going down the side, getting your hands free. Little split dodge right there. Blows by his initial guy, no slide coming. So the Towson short stick middies and defensive midfielders, they've got to do a better job. You've got to get out, push out a little bit, make contact earlier. You can't let that guy get a run and start at you and be sitting at 18, 17 yards, because if he does get that step on you, he's already in shooting position. So go out, play him, and try to get more physical, get on his hip as he drives down the alley and start to push him away from the goal.
Now 6 goals on the season for Ted Sullivan. Woodall's won 3 straight here at the face-off X. And he gets a little help from Andrew O'Dare to win another. But that pass couldn't be completed. Almost got by Reddy, but a quick outlet, and back come the Pios.
We were almost even on junk goals right there.
Instead, it's Ethan Walker and Denver going to work. And this is a lot to ask on this Towson defense because they've been on the field for a majority of this game so far. A lot of possession for the Pios.
I've been in those games when, when I played at Syracuse, we used to play up and down, and if we weren't clicking on offense, as quick as it went down to one end, it would come right back. And we had a few games where, by the end, you're completely exhausted because you're just playing the entire game.
Behind is Ellis Geis. Back out to Alex Simmons. The freshman winds and fires, shot never got through. And taken away here by Towson. Let's see if Chad Patterson can clear. Once again, it's been the issue. We talked about it in the first quarter. Towson just 76% on the clear this season, and there's another one.
And a lot of these turnovers are rushed passes. If he holds that ball, right, he's got nobody on him, no pressure. If he holds that ball for another second or two, as that guy is cutting across the field, 2 or 3 more steps, he's going to be wide open, makes it an easy pass.
Welcome back here to Lax Sports Network CAA Game of the Week. Denver with a 3-2 lead early in the second quarter over the number 8 Towson Tigers. Travis Eldridge and Steve Panarelli back with you. We talked about it in the first quarter, and we talked about it with Coach Sean Nadalin at length this week on our coach's call, Steve. The clearing has been a mess for Towson. If there's anything that they haven't been good at, it's been that. 76% on the year. That's 66 out of 73 D1 teams. They clean that up. This is a team that is looking at maybe an extra win.
Oh, absolutely. And a team that is going to be a very difficult out in the NCAA tournament eventually. They're going to be there. So they just got to clean up. It's really their Achilles heel right now. I mean, you look at that last clear. Like I said, the guy with the ball in the stick, he just has to hold it for another second or two.
No pressure.
There's no pressure on him. Hold that ball just for another second or two. I think they're just rushing everything. And then what happens sometimes is it gets into your psyche, into your head that you've been, having too many turnovers. And sometimes when you beat it to death, it actually puts a little bit more pressure on the guys. They get a little tighter, and it creates even more turnovers. They just got to relax. These guys all know what they're doing. They know how to handle the ball. They're Division I lacrosse players. They can catch and throw. They just got to relax, make the right looks, and make the easy plays.
So Denver goes back to work. It's been a long afternoon so far for this Towson defense, and it gets longer as Ted Sullivan looks to dodge. Behind Austin French. Colton Jackson. Now Ethan Walker. Still plenty of time for this Denver attack unit as we're under 20. Sullivan draws the long pull. Pass back out to Walker. He's under 10. Walker, tough angle saved by Canto. It resets the 80. Good pressure there by Zach Goodrich to make it tough on Walker to keep possession.
Really good play from Goodrich right there. Good hustle. Going against a guy who's got very good stick skills, good off of the ground, able to create that turnover.
Those little plays, some of the things that make Zach Goodrich an All-American. Now we see if Towson can clear and get this ball to the offense. Kobe Smith does just that.
Simple game. You got to find where the attackman is, right? And wherever the attackman is, that's where you want to go over as the clearing player. Take that step over. Attackman has to stay on. You throw it over his head. Simple out. It's just a numbers game. And again, you got to find out where that attackman matchup is. Swing it. Might have to do a couple over passes, but then you get the easy out.
Second midfield unit of Casey Wasserman, Andrew Beecham, and Matt Severo in there for the Tigers. Coach Nadalin trying to figure out something offensively because Towson only 1 goal in the settled offense because you had Kobe Smith who scored the other. This is where you got to look to Brendan Sunday to try to take over. Gets through, pass behind to Wasserman. 8 seconds left on the shot clock for Severo. Beecham's got to go. And a shot clock violation for the Tigers.
I think he's just got to let that go. Shot clock was around 2 or 3. You know, wasn't a great angle. Guy was on him a little bit, but still was not an awful look. Let that thing go, fire it at the net, come away with something out of that offensive possession.
I think it's interesting when you talk about Brendan Sunday. He's had such huge games this year, but he's also gone through some places like we've seen here in the first quarter and a half or so where he's quiet. And Coach Nadeline said, look, he's a quiet guy off the field. Sometimes he just needs that extra boost or extra motivation. And against Duke, he got that about midway through the second quarter. All of a sudden, a flip was switched, and he was back in it. Sometimes he just kind of goes through a little quiet. They need him to wake up.
Sometimes it's just a simple play. Maybe you get an easy one in transition or off ball, and all of a sudden you get it going. So I just think the Towson offense, not even so much him, they just need to get going right now.
Walker. And that was a pretty save there by Canto, able to kick it out. That was a tough worm burner of a shot from Ethan Walker. Simmons. Shot gets through from Rutan. And Towson able to get the backup. Good play by Kobe Smith. Kobe Smith deservedly added to the Tewaaraton watch list this week, the sophomore from Loyola Blakefield. We saw him show up big time against Pat Spencer and Loyola back in February, that win over the then number one Greyhounds for the Tigers.
I like his game a lot. You know, very athletic, he's tough, he's physical, he's good off the ground, and obviously we know he could do it in transition, so, and as a sophomore, it's pretty impressive. Can't imagine what this guy's going to look like in 2 years, especially with a guy like Coach Nadeline working with him every day.
You've got a flag down as Severo had gone into the crease. Referee crew going to talk this one over. Question is, did he get pushed into the crease? Yep, that's exactly what it's going to be. The man-up situation for Towson here for the first time today.
Take a look here at the penalty. Get Denver on the interference call. Right here, good job defensively.
There it is. Just a little hit there from Colin Squires around the crease. And so our first look at this Towson man-up unit.
Just a little extra.
A little something there.
Just making sure he knew where he was.
The Timmy Monahan, Grant Maloof, Brendan Sunday out there at the top. You also have Brody McLean in the mix, the top of this man-up unit for Towson. And we're back to even strength. Maloof, step down. Just a little high and wide of Reddy.
Not sure what they were doing with that man up. Kind of looked like they were trying to run a wheel up top there, but nobody was really ever a threat. Not really a lot of ball movement. It's kind of a wasted 30-second penalty right there for Towson offensively.
Frommert has his man hung up. He's got a short stick matchup as well. Frommert dives in. Does it count? It does. Luke Frommert ties it up at 3.
Who needs a man-up goal when you got Frommert, right? You'll take it 6-on-6, 6-on-5, doesn't matter. This Towson offense needed some kind of a spark. Right here, you're going to see take him high, splits him, gets underneath, and with the new rules, takes advantage of that, does a nice job, and is able to finish. Nice athletic play there from Frommert.
Frommert now with a goal and an assist this afternoon, his 12th goal of the season, ranking 3rd on the team.
And with the new rule of guys being able to dive, it makes that spot in the field for defensemen so much tougher to play with that inside roll. It's even harder now to bring the slide to the inside roll because if the guy's athletic enough, he can make the play. That's a good play right there.
Brett Bowes won the faceoff, but Towson able to knock it loose.
But it's one of those things with that new rule that everybody's talking about, the dive and when to call the penalty. Be one of the things that they're not talking about is what it changes for a defenseman playing on the corner there and playing at goal line extended. It totally changes your defensive mentality.
Oh, we saw a nice play by Towson at one end, and then Matt Neufeld from Denver takes it away at the other. And so the Pios a chance to clear here. But a turnover in that clearing game. As bad as Towson has been in the clear, Denver also comes into this game at 76% in the clearing
And
game.
they've been very sloppy today. This looks like a early season varsity lacrosse game. That's what it reminds me of right now.
In high school.
A high school lacrosse game, yes. Not the talent and skill level, but the turnovers and the sloppiness. Again, a very early preseason varsity lacrosse game.
Well, Towson does get the offensive possession out of it. Luke Frommert passes in front to Timmy Monahan. The Tigers get it clicking, and they're up 4-3.
And we talked about it. Sometimes offensively, you just need a spark, a play, a goal to get you going right there. Nice job. And a nice off-ball cut for Monahan. Catches his defenseman sleeping and able to finish. Good play from this Towson offense.
And we've got a timeout as the Tigers have all of a sudden turned things around. Luke Frommert triggering this offense with a goal and a couple of assists to lead the way. When we look at Denver, you of course have to mention the legendary coach, Bill Tierney, as we take a look at his incredible career. Bill Tierney, a guy in his 35th season coaching Division I lacrosse. Of course, he was hired back in 1988 as the head coach at Princeton. Look at that photo. But young Bill Tierney led this Tigers team to 6 NCAA championships, 10 Final Four appearances. Of course, then left Princeton to be hired as Denver's head coach in 2009, and all he's done since he's come to the Pios is win another national championship, the first in Denver program history. Became the first coach to win national championships at 2 different Division I programs, and he's made an NCAA tournament in every single season he has been the head coach of the Pios.
He's the all-time greatest yeller and screamer as well. I've seen it many times, but when you talk coaching legends in the sport of lacrosse, and especially Division I college men's lacrosse, the Mount Rushmore, you put him and Roy Simmons Jr., and then fill in the other 2 of who you kind of want to put in. But those 2 guys are a lock. Those 2 guys are a guarantee.
Bill Tierney entering this game with 398 career wins. If Denver can win here, now this would be kind of interesting. He goes to Princeton, his former program, on Tuesday, and the possibility to win 400 if Denver can come back and win here today. Wouldn't that be something? First things first, they got to take care of Towson, and the Tigers, the 8th-ranked team in the country, with a lead here. They're able to bounce back after Denver has dominated possession for the most part throughout our first quarter and a half.
Well, that's one thing. If you're Towson, if they can hold on to this lead going to halftime, guys, we played as sloppy as we could play. We haven't had much possession, and we're still winning. So let's get back to Towson lacrosse. Let's maintain possession. Things are starting to click for them offensively, so you got to feel really good. Obviously, a lot of time here, and we're far away from them taking this lead into halftime. But if they can, they would feel really good about this first half.
Alex Woodall able to win another faceoff, now 6 of 9 at the faceoff X for Woodall after Brett Bowes won the first 2 for Denver. You get another look at some different midfielders in here for Towson. They've been really mixing it up at the midfield unit as Brody McLean, the attackman, gets it in some trouble, and it's taken away. Danny Logan, right place, right time for the loose ball, and he gets the Pios an offensive set. Number 57 there in maroon, Ethan Walker, hasn't been incredibly loud so far for this Pios team. See if they can get him in the mix.
Had a few looks, nothing great yet. but he's a guy like we talked about in the Open. He's great off ball. He really relies on the guys around him to make plays, and then he's very dangerous on the inside and can shoot from the outside.
Ted Sullivan with his second of the day.
And much of Denver's success has just been those one-on-one dodges out of the midfield. You know, we've got 3 out of the 4 goals have come from the midfield, and it's just those simple alley dodges. The first 2, nobody slid. They were able to beat their man. This time the slide comes maybe a little too late. And again, getting down the alley, getting your hands back, and shooting for that far pipe. So it's one thing Towson defensively has just got to clean up a little bit, make a decision. Are we going to go early to those alley dodgers? If not, the guys guarding the ball have got to do a better job and force those guys out wide and take away their angle.
Sullivan matching his performance that he had against North Carolina when he had a couple of goals. As there's a violation at the face-off, X gives it to Towson.
Denver staff didn't agree.
No.
Not surprised there.
Gray guy, the midfielder, dodges. Shot sails a little wide. The midfielders have been active on both sides so far in this first half. Sunday drawing a tough matchup with Dylan Gaines.
He's done a nice job against them, and he's a tough matchup.
He is.
He's tall, he uses his body well. He sees over you.
Sunday saved by Reddy. And Sunday was in the crease. Best look he's had all day.
Said he was tall. He needed like 2 more inches right there. If he's 2 inches tall, he probably buries that thing.
And one thing we haven't mentioned is that Denver is missing one of their star defensemen in Dylan Johnson. He's out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL that happened during practice just prior to that Notre Dame game out in California. So one of the killer Ds, killer Dylans for this Denver defense is out for the rest of the year. So Dylan Gaines without one of his main pieces along that unit.
Which is scary because this team's only giving up 8 a game right now, 3rd in the country. You know, if you keep a guy like that, you know, that adds obviously to your defense. But they're long, they're rangy, they're athletic. And so far today, their communication's been good and they've played very well together.
Colton Jackson, the senior midi, has his step. Shot sails high. Almost took out a camera guy there in the corner. Shoot at your own risk.
Did he even see it? I don't think he saw. I don't think he realized.
He gave a little duck. He's like, oh. But I think it was after it passed. Down to 15 on the shot clock for Denver. Jackson against the All-American and Goodrich. Shot kicked high by Canto. That resets the shot clock, and they'll give it to French there on the backup. So a fresh 80 for Denver to work.
Denver can basically play for the last shot if they want here, which I think as a road team in a tied-up game would be a good decision.
This is the part of the shot clock where even Bill Tierney, I think, said, hey, you know, it would be nice if on the reset we could just reset it to 60. We've seen it with college basketball at times. They've actually now discussed it on rebounds, on offensive rebounds, just resetting the college basketball shot clock to 20.
I'd like to see possibly when it gets under 2 minutes, maybe shorten the total length of it. You know, especially in the fourth quarter in those close games, you still have that play where a team can run the clock out. You know, and I think if you shorten it up a little bit, you can make it even more exciting and give the other team an opportunity to get it back and get it tied up.
I mean, now you get the ball with a minute and a half, game's over.
Game's over, exactly. So it's still, we're moving in the right direction, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Colton Jackson on the run, sets it behind. About 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Hannah off a helmet of Towson. Down to 8 seconds of the shot clock. Still time for Denver. Sullivan, top of the box, saved by Canto. Quickly the other way. And that ball is not able to be corralled by Towson. We're all tied up at 4 apiece after 30 minutes.
The last few meetings between these teams have been tight. 1-goal games. I don't think either one of us is surprised. We thought all week this would be a great kind of heavyweight matchup, and we've gotten exactly what we've asked for so far.
3 1-goal games the last 3 years between these two teams. On track for that once again. At the faceoff X, Brett Bowes, the freshman for Denver, started 2 for 2 in that first half. Since then, it has been all Alex Woodall, as Woodall was dominant, winning 70% at the X throughout that first half. Something to watch as both teams try to make adjustments here. Woodall wins it to himself, but Danny Logan, the short stick for Denver, picks up the loose ball. Face-off win for the Pios.
Won the draw clean, just couldn't find the ball.
Both these teams looking for bounce-back wins. Towson coming in, losers of 2 straight. 2 tough games in losing to number 2 Duke last week on the road. Also lost to then number 2 Cornell a couple of weeks ago in a neutral site game in Charlotte. As for Denver, losing to Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago in a neutral site game in California. Their game last week that was supposed to happen at Ohio State did not happen because of some travel issues, as Canto makes an early stop here in the second half. But a fresh 80 seconds for Ethan Walker. Shot high. Game against Ohio State, a tough one for both Denver and Ohio State not to get in, but the bomb cyclone in Denver dropping tons of snow and weather in the Denver area, thousands of flights canceled. Denver's was one of them, and they just could not find a way to get to Columbus.
The old bomb cyclone.
Ted Sullivan stopped by Canto. Another fresh 80 for Denver, but Canto with an early 2 stops. Now, the bomb cyclone is not something you want in your general vicinity.
It just sounds like it's going to really disrupt the travel patterns, right? The bomb cyclone. Definitely not. I would not want to be on a flight in something called a bomb cyclone.
No.
Pass on the game. I'm good.
They lost some practice time because of the bomb cyclone as well. Sullivan again saved by Canto. 3 in a row for the big man in cage for the Tigers.
Gets down pretty good for a big guy. You know, sometimes you assume because a goalie is tall, go low, right? That's what everybody always wants to say, but he does a nice job. He's got quick hands, and he's able to get down and trap the ball for a big guy pretty well. So good, quick reflexes from Canto.
But just like in the first quarter, a long, settled offensive set for Denver comes up empty here to start the third. And Towson goes to work. It's Jake McLean. Monahan had a goal in that first half, draws the slide. Step down shot, sails just high. Here is Brendan Sunday. No points so far. He's been the leader of this Towson team. He hands off for Frommert behind the cage. Frommert's been hot. Gets around, saved by Reddy. Monahan, the loose ball in front. Reddy out of his cage to get the loose ball. And in some traffic, Reddy able to make a nice play to get it to the long poles. And the transfer from Maryland, Matt Neufeld, makes a nice play to clear.
Good pickup from Walker, too. Made it look easy, but that's not an easy play on the run, picking it up off the bounce like that.
Looks like a veteran first baseman there.
Exactly. It's almost baseball season, right?
Yeah, we're getting there. Spring training.
Yeah.
Here comes Colin Rutan. Running out of that midfield as his starting role was taken away at the attack unit as Austin French came back into the lineup a couple of games ago. He's joined by Alex Simmons, the freshman. Rutan skips it over. Shot just wide by McCone.
He had Walker on that skip. Throw it right to the backside there. Would have been an easy one for Walker. Just missed him.
3 seconds on the shot clock, and I believe we have a crease violation. It'll send it back the other way. And Jake McLean was stuck on the offensive midfielder there for Towson for that entire defensive set, but able to stand tall. And so Towson will run on some second midfielders as part of this offensive possession. Matt Severo, number 12 in those throwback gold uniforms, still looking for his first goal of the season. Played in 2 games, dealing with an injury at the beginning part of the year, and hasn't quite gotten back to 100% in his feel of the game quite yet. As Sunday, he finally wakes up, his first goal of the afternoon.
And I said it before, how he's a difficult matchup because of his size, because of his length and his long arms. You know, he could shoot from spots on the field that other guys can't just because of his size. And he can create angles with his shots because of his size. And he does a nice job of here, taking it from X, coming around with his right hand. And he's able to, again, create that angle by extending his arms, using that long body to his advantage and burying it. So nice play from Sunday. Towson's offensive lead, and maybe this gets them going here in the second half because they could definitely use it.
I love the story Coach Sean Nadelin told us this week about Sunday against Duke, because we saw him really all of a sudden just emerge in that second quarter, made some great plays. He said defensive coordinator Steve Grossi just started laying into him on the sideline because he was playing quiet and soft, and all of a sudden that flipped the switch for Sunday. He had somebody get in his face, woke him up, and he made JT Giles-Harris looks silly, one of the best defenders in the country behind the cage on a great goal last week. So maybe he got a little somebody in his face during halftime.
You know, it's signs of a good coach. You've got to know what your players, what makes them tick, what gets them going. And sometimes guys need that. You and I were talking about the Tom Izzo clip on the Michigan State with basketball yesterday. He's catching a lot of heat today, but sometimes a player needs that. And trust me, as a player, you appreciate it when a guy lets you know and they get you going, because sometimes, again, you just need that little jump start.
Monahan! Timmy Monahan with his second goal of the day.
Monahan with his 11th goal of the season. Not much really there. Not much really there to talk about. Goes to his left hand. Slides coming to his face. He's able to get it off before the slide comes and finishes it high. So, again, I think both teams defensively, and we've seen it a bunch here today, the defensive midfielders have got to do a better job of getting out to these guys and picking them up early. They're picking them up way too late, and all these guys have to do is take 2 or 3 steps, split dodge down the alley, and they get their hands free. So defensive middies from both teams have got to extend, got to get out, and make these guys earn some of these goals and really beat you out wide, because, again, all they got to do is take 2 or 3 steps, and they got their hands free.
Towson's Woodall wins the face-off. Shot stopped by Reddy. That's a big save on Brody McLean.
Much needed save. This is Towson Lacrosse right now. Dominant the face-off X, creating transition off the face-off X. If that goal goes, momentum is totally in their favor here in the second half, and they can start to open this thing up. So Reddy makes a huge save. Senior really bails out his team and keeps this thing under control.
Towson, the first 2-goal lead for any team in this game. It has been a tight one throughout. The Tigers now up 6-4 with the advantage as we reach the midway point of this third quarter.
Definitely mark that one down. If Denver's able to come back and win a 1 or a 2-goal game and keep it close, that's going to be a really big play.
This is Ted Sullivan, the sophomore from Tucson, Arizona, has had a nice game here so far. 2 goals. Played at Deerfield Academy during his high school career. And that pass from French couldn't find Colton Jackson. And the turnover gives it back to Towson. Big opportunity to take a 3-goal lead here for the Tigers. The Towson offense that has scored in double digits in every game so far this year. First time since 1994 that a Towson team has scored in double figures in their first 7 games.
Double-digit goals usually leads to wins. You know, you get over 10, you usually feel pretty good about your chances in a game.
Frommert looking for that roll back for the dive, and it's stripped away. Logan showing off the Jets. Logan off the post.
Couldn't hit that pipe any more solid. You actually saw the net move up. I mean, he hit that thing dead on, dead middle of the crossbar. Just a few inches away from a goal because he had the goalie beat.
And so Towson will settle things down. We come back the other way. Tough break for the short stick defensive midfielder looking for his 3rd goal of the season. Casey Wasserman's pass deflected and turned over again. Matt Neufeld in transition. And the freshman Ellis Geis going to settle it down for Denver. Ellis Geis has been quite the emergent player for Denver. Came in and was one of the reasons that Colin Rutan was bumped out of that starting attack unit when Austin French came back, because he's been really good. Scored 12 goals so far this season, 18 points. A guy that Coach Tierney was advocating for as maybe one of the top freshman performers in the country so far. Geis, hands free, just enough by Canto. Canto with 9 saves so far today.
Canto's been big, not just in physical stature, but he's made some big saves here. He's been lucky, had a few pipes that get hit on him, but he's made some really crucial saves. And right now to protect this 2-goal lead is huge for Towson, and he's made 2 back-to-back big saves.
Canto coming off a 16-save performance against Duke that just quite wasn't enough. But he made a couple of saves in that 4th quarter late that actually kept Towson in the game, down by just 1. Now we see if Sunday, with a goal so far in this 3rd quarter, can get it going again. His shot never quite got on frame. Now Frommert stripped away. This Denver defense showing you why they're top 3 in the country. Geis thought about it. Denver scoreless in the 3rd quarter so far. Ethan Walker is still scoreless on the game. Shot from Sullivan, deflected and over the end line. Ethan Walker there for the backup. 28 seconds left on the shot clock. French's pass deflected and taken away by Chad Patterson.
Been tough on both teams about their turnovers, but give credit to the opposite team. You know, a lot of long-range defensemen out there, done a nice job of getting sticks in passing lanes and applying pressure at certain points. And they've both defenses have slid well and had some easy double teams kind of fall into their lap, and they've capitalized on it. So both defenses have done a nice job in creating some of these turnovers as well.
Really good 3rd quarter for the Tigers so far. Got the only 2 goals, kept Denver off the score sheet. Greg I looking to add on. Romert's pass handled nicely by Sunday. but the quick double, and it's stripped away. Denver's been bringing extra help on Sunday early, and that was another case of that.
Again, a good opportunity for that double team. I just talked about it. It's another place where guy with the ball dodges to a spot where you're close enough, back is turned to you, or he's got his hands jammed up a little bit. You slide, bring that double team, create that turnover.
Jack Hanna back to Austin French. Now Ellis Geis.
Horn's been giving us trouble all day here.
Had some issues
right from the start.
Yeah, the shot clock reset to 80, which it shouldn't have. And so our crew is going to have to figure out what that number should be at. Nice little jog.
Yeah.
Warm things up a little bit. Temperatures in the 40s on a windy day at Johnny Unitas Stadium. Denver has not been shut out in a quarter yet this season. Something to keep in mind on this last 2:20 of the third, as Denver still looking for that first goal of the second half. Steve, as we wait for them to figure out the shot clock situation here, this is an important non-conference game for both of these teams as they head toward conference play. For Denver, you lost that chance to beat Ohio State last week, so this could be a big resume-boosting win for the Pios.
Yeah, because what it does is, with a win here today, it takes a little pressure off of your conference tournament. You got the resume, you kind of feel confident getting that at-large bid. There's not a lot of at-large bids in NCAA Division I men's lacrosse, so it takes a little bit of pressure off of you, but I think both these teams going into conference play, I would favor both of them to be the guys that come out victorious and champions and kind of earn their way into the dance that way. But again, even with that, let's say they even win the conference, it still builds your resume for a better seed, possibly host a game. You want to be in that conversation.
Bill Tierney upset with the decision.
I told you he's one of the best yellows of all time.
He is a legend on that sideline for the Pios. Coach Sean Nadelin said in his 3 years as an assistant under Coach Tierney at Princeton, he wished he had an audio recorder for the entire time he was in the office, just taking all the knowledge he could from spending time with Coach Tierney. They're now 30 seconds on the shot clock for Denver. Walker, tough angle there, couldn't get it on frame. It's taken away here by Kobe Smith. He already has a goal today. Dishes off, the cross crease pass taken away.
Another example of just a bad pass. That guy's not open. There's really no chance of that ball to get through and make it into his stick. Better off just holding that one, eating it, getting 6-on-6, and having, trying to work for a good opportunity in some settled offense. It just wasn't there.
Close to a minute to go in this third quarter. Denver still without a goal in the second half. Towson able to take its first two goal lead so far as Colton Jackson goes down the alley. Now Austin French had his man hung up if he wanted it. Jackson's pass deflected all the way through to Canto. Denver's offense just hasn't looked crisp in this third quarter.
No, Towson's done they've made some nice adjustments here at halftime. Defensive midfielders have done a much better job. They pride themselves. They feel like those guys are extra poles for them on the field that you don't have to slide to. You could trust them, put them on an island. They didn't do a good job in the first half, doing a much better job here in this third quarter and second half.
Frommert with 5 seconds left. He's got to go. And he can't get a shot off. Denver able to hold strong at the end of the third quarter, but it was all Towson offensively. And he has been stellar so far this season. Crazy to think, entering that first game, we didn't know who was going to be the starting goalie for this Towson team. Shane Brennan, the incumbent starter from last year, was injured, so they had a couple of different pieces that they were looking at there, and Tyler Canto won it. And now that Shane Brennan is healthy, they can't go away from Tyler Canto, because despite the one game against Cornell where, I mean, Tigers kind of got blitzed there at the middle part of that first half, and they pulled Canto. Shane Brennan got a chance to play the second half. But other than that, Tyler Canto has been really good this year so far.
You know, you hear coaches say a lot, you know, we feel like we have two guys, and sometimes the case is you really don't have one guy, and they're just trying to figure out who it is. But in this case, Coach Daniel has two guys that he can trust and go to, and he's got two really solid goalies. So, you know, Canto's been great. You ride the hot hand, but if for some reason he gets to a bad patch or gets into a tight game and he's not seeing the ball well, you got a guy in reserve that you can pull in and trust and maybe spark your defense and spark your team.
Paio's looking for a spark offensively after getting shut out in the third quarter. First quarter that they've been scoreless in all season long. Colton Jackson, that shot never got through from Jack Hanna. Still 17 seconds to work for Denver. Sullivan's got a pair today. How about a hat trick? No, Canto says no, but a deflection in. Goal is good. Ethan Walker got a stick on it, and what a rebound put back for the Pios.
And that's an Ontario play right there. Take a look at the quick hands here. Off the bounce, just pats it in. Great play from Walker. Get another look at it here, right off the bounce. Tried to get it there, couldn't handle, and then just slaps it like a tennis racket and makes a heck of a play. And you said it, this Denver team needed a goal. It needed some life. A play like that could definitely get you going offensively.
Ethan Walker is a big hockey fan as well. Big Buffalo Sabres fan. Said if he wasn't playing college lacrosse, he'd probably be playing college hockey. That was some of the hockey skills coming into play.
I should have used the hockey analogy. I went tennis. You know, I'm learning from my mistakes now. Should have went hockey there, especially
He's
with
Canadian.
That's bad announcing right there.
McLean able to help Towson win the faceoff. And get another possession for the Tigers. Now back to a one-goal game. These two programs have played a couple of those over the last 3 years. 3 straight one-goal games between these two, dating back to that 2016 NCAA tournament upset win by the Tigers. McLean just gets steamrolled.
Great double. Coming right out of the roll. Great double. Great time to go.
A loose ball hold gives it back to Towson, but he had a trio of Pios all over him. McLean across to Monahan. Frommert was the key to that first half for Towson. Had a goal and 2 assists in the first 30 minutes. He's been quiet in the second half so far. Monahan tries to get it through to Frommert. It's deflected. And scooped up by Brett Greenlee. Danny Logan in transition. Got a good look at that one.
Yeah, you're not gonna get many better looks than that. On the run, in the middle of the field, nobody on you. That's a good look.
I also believe Towson made him pay for that shot.
You usually pay for a shot when you don't score, right? I feel
right?
like when you score, you don't get hit. You get to dance, do something in the corner, but you miss a shot like that, I think you almost deserve to get hit a little bit there.
Man, karma, huh?
That's what I think it is.
See if Sullivan going for the hat trick. Oh, he had French on the backside. just couldn't collect. And we've seen Sullivan dodge down that alley and shoot so many different times. He had the pass. Towson wasn't quite ready for it.
It was a good sneak by French. He was open. Had to come a little bit higher. If he takes another step or two, probably hook that thing up, and he's able to quick stick it in. Just got to come a little bit higher from behind.
As we mentioned, both these teams looking to bounce back from losses. Towson has lost 2 in a row, falling to Cornell and Duke the last couple of weeks down in North Carolina. While Denver coming off the loss 2 weeks ago to Notre Dame out in the Pacific Coast Shootout in California. Sunday, out to Beecham. Denver defense has been tough all afternoon long. That shot didn't quite get through, I don't believe. And still 18 seconds on the shot clock for Towson.
Nothing has been easy for Towson offensively. You know, they've got 6 goals, but a lot of them were contested. Even Sunday's goal, he had a guy all over him. So Denver's done a nice job here.
Severo saved by Reddy. And it's about where you'd expect a Denver defense to be, giving up just 8 goals per game so far this year, ranks 3rd in the country and on pace to do that once again. Question is, can the offense turn it up? Another slugfest between these two.
See Towson defensive midfielders going out and playing these guys now. Picking them up almost at the midfield line. Got to get out, getting these guys hips. Force them to where you want them to go. Don't let them dictate with their dodges.
Swing move there by Colton Jackson. Ellis Geis. Tangled up there with Jimmy Wilkerson. And I believe there's a timeout there by Denver to keep possession with under 20 seconds there on the shot clock. Denver taking a timeout here, down by 1 in the 4th quarter with number 8 ranked Towson, as both these teams look for another non-conference win to check off on the resume. When you look at Denver, what they've done lately, they don't quite have that giant non-conference win to hang their hat on. You beat a North Carolina team that people are still trying to feel out. They've got a big game later on today against Maryland. You lost to Notre Dame and you lost to Duke. They go to Princeton on Tuesday as they continue their spring break trip.
And you talked about they'd lose that game with Ohio State, undefeated. Would have been a great opportunity for them to get that first real signature win. And then here's another opportunity against a Towson team that was number 1 just a few weeks ago. So definitely looking for that resume builder. I could definitely use, this win for sure.
So coming out of the timeout, under 20 seconds left on the shot clock here for Denver. Ethan Walker stripped away originally. Gonna hold on to it. 4 seconds left on the shot clock. And guess who comes out of that scrum with it? Zach Goodrich, the All-American. And Goodrich just able to clear. Much better clearing situation for Towson here in the second half as that shot sails high. Back up given to the Pios. Matt Neufeld, the redshirt senior, with a heads-up play.
Not sure where he was going with that shot. Probably not the look that Coach Nadalin wants, especially with a 1-goal lead as this clock starts to tick. Work for a better possession.
So after locking Denver down for a full 80 seconds, Towson's defense goes back to work. Something we saw a lot of in the first half as Denver dominated possession. This is the thing in the shot clock era. You can still have settled sets.
Correct.
It just continues to kind of wear on a defense, and you got to be able to execute at the end of shot clocks if you're on offense.
You could still take nice long possessions. Turnover there.
Turnover there, yeah.
Yep, turnover. Still could take long possessions, wear a defense out. What it does is the shot clock takes away from a team, someone maybe who's a big underdog, holding it for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and really just killing what is an exciting sport of lacrosse. So it takes that out of it, but you could still, like you said, play set offense, get nice long possessions, get settled in, get your guys on the field. It's not as frantic as people thought it was going to be, but again, it eliminates those kind of underdog teams from really just bleeding the clock and just holding the ball and really playing keep away.
Yeah, you see in Major League Lacrosse, the 60 seconds creates far more unsettled situations. 80 seconds with that extra 20 to clear really makes things a little bit more settled still in the college game. Grant Maloof from X. Gets free, another stop by Reddy. And the rebound scooped up by Denver. Matt Neufeld again on the right place at the right time.
Both goalies have played extremely well here today, making some big saves. Haven't really talked about those guys enough of how they've made the big saves and really bailed their defenses out the few times that they've broken down.
Coming up later tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern here on Lax Sports Network. Lacrosse now gets you all caught up on the highlights from this game in case you missed anything, and all the other big games going on around the country, including Notre Dame and Ohio State, the first big test for the Buckeyes out of conference this season. Analyst Danny Seibel, the former Villanova standout, in studio, get you all caught up on everything going on around Saturday's college lacrosse action. So if you were watching basketball throughout the day and you missed something, tune into Lacrosse Now tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Skip pass across. That one, I think Canto got a piece, or it got a piece of the net because it reset the shot clock to 80. Colin Rutan. And we're all good. It did reset the shot clock, so somebody got a piece of that. Now, under 6 minutes to go. Denver down 1. It's been the tradition in this mini rivalry we've developed over the last 3 years. 3 straight one-goal games. Included last year, a crazy overtime finish that Denver won at Peter Barton Stadium. Rutan. Tough angle from Walker, stopped by Canto. But Rutan there for the rebound, and another 80 seconds for Denver.
I feel like we've seen more resets today than I've seen all year.
Jack Hanna shot wide. That's something with the shot clock. Maybe more important than ever, rebounds. So important for goalies to try to control and get to your own team. From way downtown, Rutan ties it up.
And Rutan dials it in from distance. One of the few times that Denver's been able to beat Canto from the outside. Goes low on the big guy. Gets his hands free. Little crow hop. Able to beat the Towson goalie. Gets this game tied up at 6. And this is where this Denver team could possibly feel the loss of Trevor Baptiste. This is where, in a close game, you're used to winning these faceoffs and getting possession right back. Not saying they're going to lose it, but this is where they possibly could feel the effect of his loss.
Brett Bowes continues to battle there with Alex Woodall, and Towson's long pull able to come in and get the face-off win for the Tigers. But if you're Denver, you make Towson go backward. You're not giving up a transition opportunity, which is something you desperately don't want. Tigers able to clear.
The face-off guys they become even more important in these tight games and under these 4 or 5 minute situations.
It's a turnover for Towson. We're going back the other way. The shot clock didn't reset. Now it did, just in time for the refs to blow their whistle and blow it dead.
It works on both ways. You know, you take a 1-goal lead late in the game, you feel confident that you're going to win the face-off, you can go and kill the clock and win, right? Or if you give up a goal late in the game, you're confident you're going to get it back and have an opportunity. Again, that's why the face-off position gets magnified under these 4-minute situations in 1-goal games.
So all of a sudden, Denver, who entered this fourth quarter down by 2, they've outscored Towson 2-0 so far in the final frame, and they have a chance to take the lead back with under 4 minutes remaining. Sullivan to French. Hannah! Sounded like it hit something, but the shot clock does not reset. Denver was asking for that shot clock reset. Instead, it stays now under 50. Hannah again. Austin French, no points today. He's been quiet. Ethan Walker with just a goal for Denver. This guy, Ted Sullivan's had a nice game with a couple. Stick got deflected there on the shot.
You mentioned Sullivan. That's a matchup I might go to. He's done a nice job beating short sticks today.
Towson drops back into his zone here for the final 20 seconds of the shot clock. Sullivan on the run. And you can hear the sideline screaming for a reset with 4 seconds, but it did not hit Tyler Canto. That's one of those, like in tennis, if you think it's gonna go out, if you're a goalie, you don't want to get a piece of it, because if you nick it, and then it deflects back to the other team, all of a sudden it resets it to 80.
That's a tough decision to make.
Yeah,
it's coming,
you don't want to let it go.
Yeah, right, it's coming fast, it's coming hot.
So Towson gets a big stop. Where do you go if you're the Tigers here? I mean, Sunday's been quiet, but he's been your guy all year long. Do you try to put it in his stick at some point here?
I wouldn't go there. I like both teams' offensive midfielders attacking the short sticks. That's where both teams have had the most success. And even sometimes with Towson, what they've been successful with is the initial dodge, drawing the slide, and then the ball movement, and there's a sloppy turnover. And we talked about how those turnovers can kill you in close games. And 2:05 left, you've got possession, game tied up, and you sail one out of bounds. That's the difference between, you know, a top 5 team and kind of where Towson's out right now. You've got to control your turnovers. You can't have, especially late in the game, you can't have these bad turnovers.
19th turnover of the game for the Tigers. Coming off a game against Duke where they turned it over 25 times in that loss, where they had a lead in the fourth quarter against the Blue Devils. Just couldn't quite close. Coach Nadalin was pretty upset about that one this week, feeling like they kind of let one get away down in Durham. So when you look at the game situation, Denver a chance to take this down to about 40 seconds left with the difference between the shot clock and game clock. As Sullivan gets down the alley! Ted Sullivan with a hat trick, and the Pios up by 1.
Sullivan making me look good, like I actually know what I'm talking about in here. I said that's the matchup I liked. He's had success all day against these Towson short stick D-middies, and every time the slide hasn't came or been late, he's been able to capitalize, and he does it again right here. Left-handed alley dodge. We talk about alley dodges a lot today, but that's been the key to Denver's offensive success. And Sullivan right there with the hat trick. Again, attacking that short stick D-midi, alley dodge, getting his hands free, and finishing on the run.
3 straight goals for Denver. They have a lead here for the first time in the second half. And Towson wins the faceoff.
And we talked about it, right? So this is last year. We talked about in the pregame the loss of Baptiste. Right there, you probably win that faceoff. You run this clock out, and this game's a wrap. Now Towson comes back, their stud faceoff guy, the complete opposite, the mirror of what it's been for Denver the last few years. Now they've got to play defense, and they're going to have to earn this win on the defensive side of the ball.
As Towson goes down the stretch here, a reminder that we've got the Tigers again next week here on our CAA Game of the Week. They open up conference play, welcoming Hofstra to Johnny Unitas Stadium. That's coming your way next Saturday, March 30th, as we're finally into conference play starting next week in the CAA. Coming up April 6th and 7th. A couple of good ones. Delaware at Drexel on the men's side, and then on the 7th, the Towson and JMU women's series. That has been a terrific series to watch over the last several years, expecting another good one there. CAA Game of the Week, only on Lax Sports Network and the LSN app. So Towson takes the timeout after the Woodall face-off win. You got a minute to work. We saw last time when the last possession, they did give it to Sunday, and he's had a tough matchup with Dylan Gaines all day, causes the turnover there on the errant pass to Luke Frommer.
Same thing in the mirror here. I'm tacking short sticks, I'm dodging with my midfielders, and I'm telling them, if nobody slides to you, and you got your hands free, you're the first option, be aggressive, go hard to the goal, shoot. If not, what's been successful for Towson is drawing that slide and banging it through X and finding guys on the backside. Hasn't been the rollback, it's been the going right forward, throwing it to X and letting him find the open man. Let's see what they do here. There's the slide.
It's Greg I in there in the midfield. Around the back to Brody McLean. Now Sunday again. Gaines has been so active. Monahan saved by Reddy.
Big ground ball.
And it's won by Greenlee. Denver's got it. What a takeaway by Towson. It's out of bounds off the Pios, and the Tigers get it back.
And we've talked about their clearing struggles, unable to handle the ball, timeout. Got to clear the ball first before you can get on offense and score. So see what Towson does coming out of the timeout.
What an effort here by the Tigers, because that ball, if it crosses midfield with uncontested, this game essentially may be over.
Correct. No, this is a huge play. Huge ride right here. Who makes that check? I couldn't see the number there. It really was the attackman who went over the head and made the first check. Oh, we still couldn't see the number.
Still can't see it.
He's an unnamed, unknown man, but he made a heck of a play. And he's the one that really caught the stick first, went over the head, dove out, sold out for it. That's what caused him to bobble. And then Towson defender was able to finish him off there. But again, Towson ball. Before we can even talk about them, what they're going to do offensively, they've got to clear the ball. They've struggled there all season long. Got to take care of it, get it to your offense, and you've got to go quick. 26 seconds is not a lot of time. Got to get right into your offense right away.
Hey, no surprise. We've got a one-goal game
Correct.
Between these two top 15 teams. Looks like it's going to be the fourth straight one-goal game between these two.
And if you're Denver right now, the whole purpose of your ride right now is to just kill clock. You want to make them throw over passes. You want to make them go backwards first. Make them use as much clock before they can clear it. That way they don't have a nice settled opportunity offensively, and it's going to be rushed, and they're going to just have to go to the goal. So your goal right now is to make them take as much time as possible to clear this ball.
Remember, for Towson, over this first 20 seconds here, and 20 seconds doesn't come into play, but they can go over and back of this midfield line over the first 20 seconds to clear. They are able to clear here.
They're off.
And they're offsides. That is a brutal mistake for the Tigers. 13 seconds left. Denver's just going to heave it.
Not done yet.
8 seconds, and it's going to take one heck of an effort here for the Tigers to get the distance. Maloof sends it down. Intercepted. And a turnover around midfield is going to be the difference. A 3-0 run in the fourth quarter propels the Pios to a big non-conference win at Johnny Unitas Stadium.
Great effort from both teams. Two good teams battling it out. You feel for Towson. Tough 3-game stretch. You know, they had that hot start early on, beat their two rivals in Hopkins and Loyola, and then they just went into 3 juggernauts. You know, you talk about Cornell, Duke, and now Denver. But for Denver, on the opposite, we talked about they needed that signature win, beat a top-quality opponent. They did that today on the road, and both, they've got to feel really good going into conference play.
So Denver will take this win and move on to Princeton on Tuesday. And how about this? Bill Tierney, this is 399th career win. He'll have a chance for number 400 on Tuesday against his former program. Another one-goal thriller between these two. Our final score from Johnny Unitas Stadium, Denver 7, Towson 6. Thanks for watching our CAA Game of the Week on Lax Sports Network.